God, the principles and the standards of God, and the ways of God, as documented in the Bible, you know of a truth that they have fallen. Hello, friend, and welcome to Christy Corner with Judy, where I share my personal thoughts based on biblical principles. On today's episode, we'll continue our series on the fallen soldiers. And today we are looking at wolves in sheep clothing. So today we are looking at a different angle to this conversation on the fallen soldiers. Today we are looking at people who are Christians, but they have fallen. But they are not ready to admit that they have fallen. So they continue in that, or they claim that they are still in faith, and so they continue in that position of Christian brother in faith, Christian sister in faith, bishop in faith, pastor in the Lord, evangelist in the faith, But when you look at their lifestyles vis-a-vis the word of God, the precepts of God, the principles and the standards of God, and the ways of God, as documented in the Bible, you know of a truth that they have fallen. Okay, so our Bible reference today will be taken from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and 2 Timothy chapter 3. Now, in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, Apostle Paul wrote to the Corinthians, and he mentioned that it has been reported that there is sexual immorality in their midst. And in fact, he said the kind of sexual immorality that even the pagans, the Gentiles do not have such. It's even found in the church. And he said something, interestingly, he said, he instructed, he said, disassociate yourself from such. He said, do not mingle with such. Because he asked, he said, don't you know that a little leaven leavens the whole lump? Right? So, and, being a Christian is submitting yourself to God and taking unto you the image of God. It's surrendering your selfish desires, your pleasures, what you would ordinarily want to do, that are contrary to the ways of God. But then because you are a Christian, you let go of such, and then you take unto you the image of God. And there is no way you can thrive as a Christian without being dead to self, dead to selfish pleasures. The flesh and the spirit, they never work together. So when you surrender yourself to the Lord, you carry his image. Now, that does not mean that as Christians we don't have our struggles. But when we have our struggles, we name them as they are. We call them what they are. Oh, this is a struggle I'm having. But not that we now get to a point where we are like, okay, so this is my struggle, and it seems to overshadow me. It seems I cannot rise above this struggle. So let me just let me just be who I am. You people should just accept me the way I am. This is who I am. This is my real self. And then you are, especially if you are in a very high-ranking position in the Christian faith, you are now misleading people to believe that way that you have chosen is the right way to live. Now, Apostle Paul said, so he was saying that you are boasting in iniquity. And there are times some Christians will say, you cannot judge me. Oh, don't judge him now. Maybe that's the way God has interpreted, the words to him. It's their doctrine. There are standards. Yes, our journey might be a little bit different, but there are fundamental basic standards in this journey with God. For instance, you cannot say because, our doctrines differ, so in our church we have accepted that sex before marriage is okay. You can't say that. Or you cannot say that, because our doctrines differ, so you know what, in our church in our church it is allowed that ladies can dress in very seductive manners and come to church. You can't say that. You understand? So, and some people will say, and why are you judging? Look at what Apostle Paul wrote in the book of 1 Corinthians. I wrote to you in my letter not to associate with sexually immoral people. He said, not at all, meaning the sexually immoral of this world, or the greedy and the swindlers, or the idolaters, since you would need to go out of the world. He said, but now I am writing to you not to associate with anyone who bears the name of brother, if he is guilty of sexual immorality, or greed, or is an idolater, or a reviler, or a drunkard, a swindler, not even to eat with such a one. For what have I to do with judging outsiders? Is it not those inside the church whom you are to judge? That's Apostle Paul asking. He said, God judges those outside. He said, purge the evil person from among you. So these are fallen soldiers. They have fallen, but they don't want to admit it. And what did they do? By so doing, they keep, oh my God, they keep